development. The uniqueness of Dr. Hegde is that always have the ground reality while designing the developmental plans. Friends, we have come to the most important part of this.
ಶ್ರೀ ಮಂಜುನಾಥ ಸ್ವಾಮಿಯನ್ನು ಪ್ರಾರ್ಥಿಸಿ ಇಂದಿನ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಈಗ ತಾನೇ ನಮ್ಮ ಧರ್ಮಸ್ಥಳ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹಾಗೂ ನಮ್ಮ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರದ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮೆಚ್ಚುಗೆಯ ಮಾತುಗಳನ್ನು ಹೇಳಿ ತಾಯಿಯ ಹಾಗೆ ಮಾರ್ಗದರ್ಶನವನ್ನು ನೀಡಿದಂಥ ಶ್ರೀಮತಿ ನಿರ್ಮಲಾ ಸೀತಾರಾಮ್ ಅವರೇ, I said like mother, you have appreciated and also given us more responsibility. ನಮ್ಮ ಮಾನ್ಯ ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳು ಈಗ ತಾನೇ ನಮ್ಮನ್ನು ಉದ್ದೇಶಿಸಿ ಮಾತಾಡಿ ಹೋಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ. Dr. Larry Reed, Senior Fellow, Results Education Fund, Chicago, thank you for coming all the way and beautifully giving us the examples of various countries. Then I have many delegates from overseas and from different parts of India, dignitaries on the dais and off the dais. In Dharmasthala, I sit on the Hegde Pita every day and interact with people of different economic status, religions, caste, creed, ethnicities. Sometimes I meet several hundred of people in a day. As Ramakrishna Paramahamsa said, Shivajnane Jiva Seva, knowledge of God through service of man. The Hegdes of Dharmasthala have believed in this philosophy and have tried to institutionalize this philosophy. For an organization which started its work in a remote rural village to help the vulnerable people from remote rural areas to conduct a conference in this ambience and attracting people from all over the world is a humbling experience. For almost 4 decades, my organization Skdrdp has remained embedded in the grassroots. However, we remain innovative and never shirk from responsibility of tackling social issues which have troubled our society. Our innovations have led us to develop processes and technology. Our response to social problems have resulted in some outstanding movements like Janajagrati, Shuddha Ganga, Cleanliness Drive, Jnana Vikasa, to name a few. We have also followed a positive approach in partnering mainstream institutions. As a result, the Skdrdp stakeholders have immensely benefited from the ongoing schemes of the government and the programs of the banks, insurance companies and pension intermediaries. Today, as I stand before you, I am looking at the past and at the same time towards the future. Post-independence, there was a revolution taking place in India, which was creation of abundant opportunities. I always say, if there is anything that has transformed India, it is creation of opportunities, more than the financial investment. All the plans of governments have ended up creating opportunities to the poor and vulnerable. Secondly, the new generation got education. In the 70s, there were not too many educational facilities in the villages. Establishing schools in the village level was a revolution. Higher education was unheard of in the rural sector. For example, for a law course, students had to go to Banaras. For a degree course, they had to go to Chennai. Compared to what we have today, not even 10% was available in those days. With education institutions opening up at different levels, suddenly there was an opening of opportunities. In early days, 70s, people had no ambitions, they had no hope, they had no goal. Around this time, Land Reforms Act was brought into force. People who were tenants or wage laborers became the owners of the land in which they tilled. People developed attachment to the land later. It's my land, I have to invest in this, I have to develop this, I have to secure it for my future generation. Change the nature of their demand. These changes all happened in the 80s. So that was the time I really started to study villages very closely. In Skdrdp, we started giving inputs to improve the lands. Inputs like agriculture equipment, seeds were supplied. Knowledge transfer on use of seeds, fertilizers, irrigation, cultivation practices, and then lastly, marketing. Because they never thought of marketing. But now the process of production, higher yield, and marketing was also included in their agenda. This is the change that we brought through Skdrdp. Political leadership gave them the ownership of land and all the guidance, but they never thought of empowering the people. Empowering them was as important as asset ownership. So we took our charge of the empowerment program. Independent India in the past has given everybody a great opportunity to prosper. Many have used this opportunity and have prospered. Food security, education, infrastructure, healthcare have all improved in our country. Three to 4 decades back, the people, especially from the vulnerable sector, were unable to make use of developments. Through Skdrdp, we have tried to educate the farmers and women to understand the schemes of the government and make use of the same. We have adopted the self-help group model since 1990. In this model, a group of women come together every week to discuss their issues and find solutions. As 18th century Scottish author Samuel Smiles has said, the spirit of self-help is the root of all genuine growth in the individual. The SHG movement has changed the mindset of the poor, and now they have become capable of using the facilities offered by the government. In other states, many other institutions would have done a similar work that our organization attempted to do in Karnataka. However, a lot needs to be done to create awareness among everybody to make use of the opportunities available in the environment. Even though Skdrdp has been promoted by a temple, I have always guided my workers and the stakeholders to become self-reliant. I tell them to always remain updated and not to show the dependency syndrome. In our programs on farmers, we have encouraged them to look for many subsidiary occupations which keeps them engaged all through the year. This has helped the members of the Skdrdp family to increase their incremental incomes from the farming activities. In fact, multiple incomes are the hallmark of interventions of Skdrdp. Still, there are many issues which are challenging us. For instance, market for agricultural producers have been a matter of grave concern affecting the poor people. Every farmer expects remunerative prices for his produce. In a free market scenario, quality works better than sympathy. Therefore, the farmer should pay attention to the quality of his product by concentrating on post-harvest technologies, packing and presentation as such, as much as works in the field. Intervention in the value chain is another important requirement. The poor people and the farmer cannot be dependent on the government forever. From this context, the philosophy of Skdrdp becomes very significant. Going forward, we have many challenges to conquer. Population is one such challenge. Although our population has a majority of young people, motivating them to be productive has been a great challenge. Former President of India, Dr. APJ Kalam, has written, "We will be remembered only if we give to our younger generation a prosperous and safe India, resulting out of economic prosperity coupled with civilization heritage." In this context, the emphasis given by our central government for development of skill among the young people is laudable. We in Dharmasala, in collaboration with the Syndicate Bank and Canara Bank, started the Self-Employment Training Institute 4 decades back. These institutes provide entrepreneurial training to young people to start enterprises. This movement has now spread over the country by the name RCT, Rural Self-Employment Training Institute. These institutes are supported by the banks. As on the date, we have established more than 650 such RCTs Cumulatively, we have trained 3.5 million young people to change their attitudes and embrace micro-enterprises. I believe young people have to change their mindsets and adapt themselves to newer skill quality quickly so that we can prosper. Increased population is a market opportunity only if people have money in their hands. Financial inclusion is a very important step taken by our government in the last 5 years. This has enabled almost every family to have one bank account so that their transactions are safe and surplus incomes are saved. Skdrdp has worked as intermediaries to mainstream financial institutions for implementing the flagship program for the government like Prime Minister Jan Dhan Yojana for opening bank accounts, Prime Minister's Jeevan Jyoti Bima Yojana, Suraksha Bima Yojana to provide life security, Atal Pension Yojana to provide old age pensions. All over the world, last mile delivery of government programs are a challenge. The role of NGO is to bridge this gap. We need to educate and motivate the people to use the services. In this regard, I must appreciate the efforts of our Finance Minister, Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman, for her bold initiatives in providing succor to people from different sections of the society. I am sure the steps taken by the current government will have an impact in the long term. But legislations alone cannot change a country. The population has to become receptive. Skdrdp in this regard is trying to create such an ecosystem in the state of Karnataka. The social and economic empowerment made possible by the SHG movement has resulted in transformation of the households leading to healthy environment. As the African proverb says, if you educate a man, you educate an individual. But if you educate a woman, you are educating a nation. The SHG movement has made this proverb true. This year, we have faced natural calamities in different parts of the world. In our country, especially in Karnataka, the flood situation is still continuing in several geographies. Many people have lost their livelihoods and properties. While I am saddened by this situation, I am astonished by the resilience of the affected people. They have remained very positive and have faced this calamity bravely. Perhaps this strength comes from them, from the Indian religious ethos. The 3-day conference will give a great opportunity to Skdrdp for introspection, to find out what has not worked well and what could have been improved. It will give equally a great opportunity to the participants to understand the philosophy of poverty alleviation as conceived by Skdrdp. Now I am overwhelmed by the response to our invite for the conference. All our partners have responded splendidly for this conference. Our national government headed by Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji has a clear focus on where we should be in 2030 when the United Nations Dream Project for achieving the Sustainable Development Goals will be evaluated. On our part, we certainly dedicate ourselves to this task. I thank Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman ji who has found the time amidst her pressing engagements to come here as the representative of the Union Government and so kindly inaugurated the conference. She is, as known to us, very intelligent, studious and thorough leader who knows the pulse of the market. Her presence in our midst today has validated the efforts of Skdrdp and the necessity of this conference. I think you have given us some homework with appreciation. This will be taken by us very sincerely, and we may go ahead with all the suggestions and guidance given by you. Thank you for participating in this conference. To Honorable Chief Minister of Karnataka, Shri B.S. Yediyurappa, he understands the problems of the farmers and poverty. He has come up from a simple background from the village. He has clear vision to take Karnataka to the greater heights. I thank him for coming over to this conference inaugurating the exhibition. Finally, on behalf of Skdrdp has partnered many institutions in this journey. Today we have Sri Mrityunjaya Mahapatra, Managing Director of Syndicate Bank. We consider Syndicate Bank as our bank because it has its roots in our district. We have implemented several insurance programs with Life Insurance Corporation of India, globally the biggest public sector insurance company. To Sri TC Sushil Kumar, who has been proactive in implementing many micro insurance programs, has graced this occasion. Thank you. The Executive Director of the Bank of Baroda, Sri Murali Ramaswamy, is also with us. For us, Bank of Baroda means the old Vijaya Bank, which I was the director for some time in 60s. Although Mrs. Sitaraman has merged our bank with Bank of Baroda, the relationship has remained. We have today with us Mr. Surya Kumar, Chief General Manager, NABARD, Bangalore, and also Mr. Anup Kumar, General Manager of SIDBI. I acknowledge the help given by all of you for the CASA conference and also for gracing this occasion. Dr. Harish Hande, who has helped us so much through Selco Foundation for the conference, is also here. The other sponsors for our programs are also here today. So many of you have traveled from various parts of the globe to be a part of this conference. We hope that you will enjoy our hospitality, and a few of you are visiting Dharmasala after this conference. I welcome you to visit the place, and also hopefully I'll be there to host you. Our media partners have given us good support. I thank all of you for making this inaugural program a grand success. I wish on behalf of me, my wife Hemavati, and all the trustees of Skdrdp great success for this conference, and I pray Manjunath Swami to bless us all, to bless the conference deliberations in the next 2 days, and continued activity in the field for the benefit of humanity. May God bless.